Stronger than ever. That's the key message that Adani Group Chairman Gautam Adani is giving shareholders at the 32nd annual general meeting of the flagship company. The group, and for Gautam Adani himself, the last financial year has proven pivotal. Uncertainty and adversity were constant companions, but perseverance helped the group weather headwinds that would have destroyed other companies. Welcome. This is NDTV Profit, and I'm Alex Matthew. For shareholders of Adani Enterprises and the other group companies, patience has proven to be rewarding. The returns from the low point of last year in some of the group stocks have been the best on offer in the Indian stock market. A large part of that upsurge was driven by measures taken to improve the financial conditions of the group in the aftermath of the Hindenburg allegations. But according to the Adani Group chairman, the true measure of the success of last year is less about the achievements and more about the ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. And that ability comes from the perseverance that he learned from his mother, growing up in the harsh deserts of Banaskantha. Here's a report.
In my case, I picked my lessons from my mother. Growing up in the harsh deserts of Banaskantha, what I learned from her is that true strength lies in perseverance. It is this perseverance that has allowed us to become one of the most admired companies in the country. And our perseverance was never more evident than that we demonstrated this past year.
It has been a trial by fire for the Adani Group in the past year. The first dagger was thrown by international short sellers in January 2023, spreading unfounded rumors, leading to the Adani Group stocks tanking in initial panic. Adani Total Gas shares took the hardest hit, plunging 56%. Many stocks in the group hit lower circuit. Overnight, the group saw the erosion of 12.4 lakh crore rupees in market cap, which was at 19.2 lakh crores. The rumors became part of an international media feeding frenzy that vilified the group.
The attack was a calculated strike. 2 days before the closing of our follow-on on public offer, amplified by a segment of wasted media, it was designed to defame us, do maximum damage, and erode our hard-earned market value.
Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures. It was time for the chairman to recall the grit taught to him by the deserts of Banaskantha.
Despite successfully raising rupees 20,000 crores through India's largest ever FPO, we made the extraordinary decision to return the proceeds. This underscored our dedication to our investors and our commitment to ethical business practices. In these situations, where most companies would have gone under, our liquidity become our greatest assets.
Having won over investors, the immediate priority was to safeguard the group against further attacks. The alarm bells had sounded for the leadership. The short sellers' damage was not to be an isolated attack. The daggers kept flying at the group, which put up a united front.
To further augment our cash reserves, we raised an additional rupees 40,000 crores, comfortably covering the next 2 years of our debt repayment. This decisive action is a testimony to the great strength of your company. It restored market confidence and we safeguarded our portfolio against any volatility by prepaying rupees 17,500 crore in a margin-linked financing.
The attacks were initially financial in nature and went on to take a political hue. Over time, though, the Adani Group won investor confidence. Now the markets are immune to media speculation and short seller reports, as was seen as recently as last month when the false news published by an international publication was completely ignored by the markets. The icing on the cake was when the group received a thumbs up from the highest court of the land.
Our stand against the attack was further vindicated when the Supreme Court of India affirmed our actions. In addition, our commitment to operational excellence and transparent disclosures was validated not only by rating agencies and the well-informed financial community, but also by respected global investors like GQG Partners, Total Energies, IHC, QIA, and the US Development Finance Corporation, all of whom choose to invest with us. The headwinds that tested us became the very ones that made us even stronger.
A year later, the Adani Group has recovered all losses incurred following the short sellers' false allegations. The group has recorded its highest ever EBITDA of close to 83,000 crore rupees in fiscal year 2024, a surge of 45%. Profit after tax in the same period stood at a record high of over 40,000 crore rupees, which is 71% higher over the previous fiscal. Net debt to EBITDA ratio fell to 2.2 times from 3.3 times in the past year. Liquidity of the Adani Group is at an all-time high, with cash balance of close to 60,000 crore rupees. Group companies Ambuja Cement, ACC, Adani Ports and SEZ are now rated AAA. The Adani story is a lesson on how to convert unmitigated disaster into a growth opportunity. Bureau Report, NDTV Profit.
All right, so there you go. There's the snapshot of some part of the journey over the last financial year. But that last bit, it bears speaking about in a little more detail. The financial snapshot of the Adani Group at the end of the financial year shows several records. Profitability has improved, the debt is lower, and there's more cash on the books. All of that has served to attract interest from large institutional investors. Agam Vakil is standing by to tell you about those key numbers beyond what they seem in just a glance. Agam, what can you tell us?
Right, Alex. So since the challenges posed by Hindenburg allegations, well, the group has actually moved from strength to strength with substantial improvement in a lot of these financial parameters. We start off with the fact that the company has managed to raise about 40,000 crores. A lot of that will be going towards servicing and repayment of certain amount of debt going in. Moreover, as we move forward, even in terms of profitability, we have seen a substantial turnaround when it comes to group level. You know, as I very quickly mentioned that at least as far as your EBITDA is concerned, we are looking at a substantial up move, around 45% on a year-on-year basis, at the mark of a little over 83,000 crores. And let's not forget, the profitability on the bottom line basis also has risen by as much as 71% on a group basis at a little over 40,000 crores. Now, when it comes to debt, as the chairman has mentioned himself, that the debt to EBITDA has come off all the way from 3.3 times to 2.2 times. And this, in fact, helps in further strengthening plans for the company going in. This, of course, naturally has had a consequential impact when it comes to the balance sheet as well, where, in fact, you can see the group cash balance standing at just shy of the 60,000 mark. Finally, let's end by taking a look at, well, the ratings when it comes to the group itself. And among them, the key companies that stand out are Adani Ports, along with Ambuja Cement, and of course ACC. All these three companies have been rated a AAA in terms of their debt, and these are a few of the many factors that have played in favor of the company. Looking forward, let's not forget, Adani Enterprises specifically has also earmarked 80,000 crores in capital expenditure for FY25. So it's going to be a wait and watch as to how that also further contributes to not only raising the profile of profitability, but also bringing balance to the debt to equity going forward.
Absolutely. That key number is going to be watched going forward as well. Thanks so much, Agam, for getting us those details. Now, going forward, the Adani Group is tying its fortunes to India's star very clearly, which is on the rise. A bastion of stability and promise in a world that is faced by uncertainty on several fronts, the Indian economy presents an opportunity like never before. It is the opportunity to participate in the journey to $10 trillion. Listen in.
The world stands at a crossroads. Geopolitical tensions, strained global relationships, the fight against climate change grows more challenging, and technology change disrupt the way we will live and work. In this uncertainty, the world is witnessing the rise of India. This is India's moment. We are now the force for stability, cooperation, and progress in a complex world. And it is India's macroeconomic stability and ambitious growth plans that inspire our confidence.
Now, the backbone of any strong and vibrant economy is its infrastructure. And with the focus the group has on executing the most challenging projects, Gautam Adani is rightly enthusiastic about the prospects for the group in India. Listen in.
The multiplier effect, the government of India has rightly focused on infrastructure development by raising its funding by 16% to over rupees 11 lakh crores for this financial year. It is worthwhile to note that annual spending has tripled in the last 5 years. What is even more relevant is that while the national narrative sets the stage for infrastructure spend, large part of the funding and actions are at the state level. In our case, with our operations spread across 24 Indian states, we are first-hand witnesses to the critical role state governments play in implementing the initiatives. My shareholders, I am proud to say that our record-breaking achievements in 2023 underscore our alignment to national priorities is no longer at the crossroads of destiny. We stand on the brink of our greatest growth phase. By the end of this decade, our nation is set to become the world's third largest economy. And given our demographic dividend, we are well on our way to being the largest middle class that the world will ever witness. And with the government now in its third term, your company is well positioned to continue the economic and social programs that have driven our spectacular journey over the past decade. Over the period of the past 10 years, we have seen our GDP double. We are now already achieving a GDP growth rate of over 7%. Our stock market are soaring to a record high, and consumptions is at an all-time high, signaling a robust economic health. As our middle class expands faster than any other in the world, the foundation for growth is solidly in place, and the next decade promises even greater strides. And as we make our way towards becoming a $10 trillion economy by 2032, our spend on infrastructure is expected to grow at a CAGR of 20 to 25% and reach a cumulative spend of a $2.5 trillion. Given that at the very core, we are an infrastructure company, we are well positioned to capitalize on the upcoming opportunities.
And what opportunities they are. In his address, the Adani Group chairman also listed the key highlights of major businesses and the achievements that they've come up with over the course of the last financial year. And these, of course, are businesses that the Adani Enterprises company has incubated. Their success has been the reason why it has been a fantastic FY24 despite the odds.
Adani Enterprises, our group's incubation engine, had a fantastic year. Passenger traffic at our airports witnessed a strong double-digit growth and came in at 88.6 million passengers. We are also privileged to have the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurate the state-of-the-art Terminal 3 at a Lucknow International Airport. Kutch Copper, a pioneering project in Mundra, within the AEL portfolio commence operations at its greenfield copper refinery. By the end of this decade, we aim to make world's largest single locations copper smelter with a capacity of 1 million metric ton per annum, thus enhancing India's self-reliance on a metal needed for our critical industries. Adani Ports and SEZ also experienced an exceptional year, exceeding 400 million ton cargo and handling a record of 420 million ton. 10 of our ports recorded lifetime high cargo volumes. We also acquired Gopalpur and Karaikal ports, consolidating our positions as India's premier ports and logistic company. Given renewable energies growth potential, Adani Green Energy revises FY30 targets from 45 gigawatt to 50 gigawatt. In the year, we added 2.8 gigawatt, 15% of India's total renewable capacity addition. The commissioning of the first 2 gigawatt at the world's largest renewable energy plant in Khavda within 12 months of our breaking ground set a record at another proof point that highlights our execution's capabilities. Let me mention a few more of our operational highlights. Adani Power's operating capacity increased by 12% to 15,250 megawatt, with the commissioning of a 1600 megawatt transnational ultra supercritical thermal power plant at Goda. This makes the first power plant in India to export all its power to a neighboring nation. Adani Energy Solutions continue to commission the much needed critical transmission infrastructure, including two 765 kV lines. Our transmission order book stands at rupees 17,000 crores, and our smart metering order book has expanded to 228 lakhs units. Adani Total Gas expanded its CNG station to cross 900 stations, and PNG connections rose from 8.45 lakh to 9.76 lakhs connections. We also commissioned 606 EV charging points, as well as the first phase of one of India's largest biomass plants in Barsana. Following the acquisition of ACC and Ambuja Cements and other commissionings, the Adani Group's combined cement capacity has risen from 67.5 million ton to 79 million ton per annum. And our EBITDA per ton has more than doubled since the acquisitions. We are well on the path towards our target of 140 million ton per annum by 2028. We are also proud that Ambuja Cements was the lead supplier for India's longest sea bridge, the 21.8 kilometers long Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link. Our media entity, NDTV, expanded its presence regionally and scaled digitally with a 39% increase in a global digital traffic.
All right, and with that, it's time for a quick break. On the other side, we discuss Adani Group's projects and where they currently stand. They are spread, by the way, across 24 states in the country. More on that in just a bit. Welcome back. This is, of course, a special broadcast that we're bringing you about the Adani Group and the year that it has been. FY24 is what we're talking about. And if you were paying attention to the commentary that Gautam Adani himself brought you about the spread of the group's activities across the country, you would have seen a map detailing where the presence is of the group companies. But what exactly does that entail? And what does this mean for the companies that operate across India? Harsh is joining in to give you the exact lowdown on where the company is present. Harsh, over to you.
Well, thanks for that, Alex. Let's first off look at the map of India and see where the presence of the Adani Group is prominently showing. And what we'll see is it's pretty much across India. In fact, Adani Group has a presence in 24 states of India. So that's how the map currently looks like, including some of the subsidiaries and companies and other group companies and where their presence is. But let's talk about specific projects and what could be the projects of the future. And in essence, I'll start off with the first one, Khavda. Now, I'll first talk about two key pieces of the business and within the overall market as well. These are two pieces which have done really well and are in focus. One is green energy and the other is realty. So let's talk about the largest green energy installation in the world, currently generating around 3 gigawatts of clean energy and going towards 30 in the next 5 years. This is in, of course, Khavda in Gujarat. And then we have the largest realty project as well, largest redevelopment project in the world, 10 lakh people to benefit from this redevelopment. This is right in our backyard in Mumbai at Dharavi. Now, outside of this, of course, there were several other projects which have been spoken about. You have the Lucknow International Airport, Terminal 3 of that, also part of what the group is looking at in terms of development. Of course, this will have a huge impact to the state of Uttar Pradesh and what it will mean for growth in the state going forward as well. Switching over to the next one, of course, it's Mundra. And you, of course, have the Kutch Copper, which commenced operations at the Greenfield refinery. Plans to build a 1 million ton per year capacity here and will be the world's largest single location smelter over the last decade that has been built. So fairly large in that sense as well. Then, of course, you have some of the other on the eastern coast. You have Gopalpur and Karaikal. Both of these are acquired ports of Adani Ports, and those post the acquisition integration will happen shortly as well. Last off, you have Adani Power, 1600 megawatts thermal power plant in Godda, and the first power plant to export all of its power to neighboring nations. So again, a landmark project in itself. So these are, of course, some of the projects which are key, and looking to the future will have tons of value as well, which will get unlocked from these.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Harsh, for getting us those details. Now, of course, shareholders of Adani Enterprises, like I said, have benefited from patience. And what a year it has been. Let's take a look at some of the charts that detail the kind of performance that the group stocks have had. And in fact, if I look at the low point of last year and the journey from there, look at something like an Adani Enterprises to begin with. You see gains of about 168% from the low point of last year. Adani Power has had the best run so far, and that's a run of as much as 428%. You have Adani Ports and SEZ, which is up about 215%, and Ambuja Cements, which is up as much as 97%, and meanwhile, ACC is up as much as 60%. But who said it best? So there you go, the Adani Group recovery from the low point of last year. Let's quickly run through the list again. Adani Enterprises, a gain of as much as 168%. You have Adani Ports, which is, or rather Adani Power, which has grown as much as 428% from the low point. You have Ports that is up as much as 215%. Ambuja Cements, which is up close to 100%, nearly a doubler in that time. And ACC, lastly, which is up as much as 60.5%. Now, to wrap things up, perhaps the best word came from the man himself. At the very end of his address to shareholders, he said that the best is yet to come. Here's what he had to say.
With our record results, robust cash positions, and the lowest debt ratio in our history, our path ahead is illuminated with the promise of even greater accomplishments. The possibility before us are immense. We are stronger than ever, and our best is yet to come.
With that, it's a wrap on this special broadcast. For all the latest news and updates, stay tuned to NDTV Profit.